Good morning, students. Today's class will see about the April 2019 nursing education. The first question: define learning. What are the laws of learning? Briefly explain the principles of learning with example. Define learning. Change in a human disposition or capability that persists over a period of time and is not simply ascribable to process the growth. Laws of learning. According to Ndeki, the law is Bloom's law of readiness. Readiness preparation for an action is the child is ready to learn. He learns more quickly, effectively, and with the greater satisfaction if he is not ready to learn. Law of effect. Learning can be said to have taken place properly when it results in satisfaction and learner derives pleasure from it. Laws of exercise. Two parts of law is law of use and law of disuse. When modification is made between situations and response, that connections of strength it is increased, and when it is not made connection, the strength is decreased. Law of multiple response or varied reaction. In a new situation, an individual responds in a variety of ways, trying the first one response and then another one before arriving the correct one. Law of attitude. Learning is guided by the total attitude of the person. Law of analogy. An individual responds to a new situation on the basis of the responses made by him similar situations in the past. Law of associate shifting. From the trial of many responses, the learner comes to the correct response at the last. Principles of teaching. The principles of motivation, activity, creativity, selection, division, correlation, connecting with life, revision and practice. Teachers should arouse interest in the students' well-defined objective. The first is principle of motivation. The best teacher is who inspires the students. The human mind is like a parachute. It works only when it is open. So through teaching, the teacher should try to unleash the talents of the students by motivating them. Principle of activity. Teaching basically an active process. While teaching, teachers should be alert, smart and follow the most suitable methods of teaching. Activity generates the drive and drive essential to achieve more heights in life. Teachers should arouse interest in the students. Even though we say teaching is sharing knowledge, knowledge will not flow from one person to another just like money. There should be a well-defined objective. To attain a good result, all teaching activities should be based on predetermined objective. Principle of individual differences. Good teaching always respects the individuality of students. By considering each student as a unique individual, teacher can pay attention to the individual differences and develop strategies to cater the educational needs of individual student. Principle of creativity. Through creativity, teacher can arouse students' natural motivation to learn, and this will in turn convert a usually teacher-centered classroom to a more desirable learner-centered classroom. Principle of selection. Teachers should select the appropriate content, teaching method, sitting situations, media of instructions, AVAs, textbooks, and journal articles for teaching, particularly subject matter in order to make teaching is more meaningful and comprehensible to the students. Principle of division. Particular teaching activity should have definitive divisions based on valid reasons. For example, nursing management cirrhosis of liver cannot be taught in a single lesson. Teacher has to divide into clear-cut divisions like definition, classification, etiology, pathology, etc. Principle of revision and practice. During teaching session, teacher has to revise in the middle and end. Revising or summarizing the content at the end of the teaching session is called recapitulation. Principle of correlation. Function of the teaching is to share knowledge, development of understanding and skills. While teaching, teacher has to take care of the transferred knowledge will not remain segregated as far as possible to correlate with previous related knowledge. Principle of connecting with life. Relationship between life and education is proved undoubtedly, and teaching is an integral part of education. So all teaching activities are connected with life. Second question: define curriculum. Enlist the principles of curriculum planning. Discuss course planning with an example. So according to Florence Nightingale, the curriculum is a systematic arrangement of some total of experience selected by as per planned by the school for a definite group of students to attain the aim of particular educational program. The principles include: it has been stated that nations live in the present, on the past, for the future. Forward-looking principle, creative principle, principle of totality form, activity principle, principle of preparation of life, preparation connecting to life, training for leisure, child-centered curriculum, integration and correlation, comprehensiveness and balance, loyalties, variety and flexibility, connecting to community needs, social life, core or common subject, all-around development of mind, body and spirit, principle of democracy, secularism and socialism, dignity of labor and character building. Course planning. Course plan may be defined as a series of studies leading to a graduation or a degree. In case of a BSc nursing course, it is acquiring the completion of several short courses. So planning of the course is known as course planning. Outline of the course plan, objective specification for the level of learner, resource material needed for the course, unit plan, evaluation methods, and bibliography. Content of the course plan, mention the objectives or outcomes to be achieved, placement, specify the level of learner, brief course description, mention the placement of course within the curriculum, organize content topic wise, unit wise, describe resource materials, plan the assignment, describe procedures, mention the place, length of experience, observation of procedures. For example, nursing education, fourth year BSc nursing. Nursing education placement fourth year theory is 80 hours, practical 120 hours. Course description. Then we have to divide into the topic, the units. At last we have to give the references. Type of AV aids. The AV aids are divided into audio aids, projected aids and non-projected aids and audio visual aids. What are the principles of evaluation? Evaluation is the process of determining the extent to which educational objectives are achieved by the people. It should not be viewed as a merely collection of techniques for obtaining information about people's behavior. Evaluation is most effective when based on sound operational principles. The following principles are: determining and classifying what is to be evaluated always has priority in evaluation process. The objective must be clearly stated before evaluation is made. Techniques should be selected in term and the purpose to be served. Comprehensive evaluation requires a variety of evaluation techniques. No single evaluation technique is adequate to evaluate various outcomes. Proper use of evaluation techniques require an awareness of their limitation as well as their strength. Evaluation is a means to an end and not an end in itself. Evaluation procedures must contribute to the improved decisions of instructions, guidance, and administration nature. Adequacy of experience should be made in terms of excellence of performance and quality of experience. Record for practice should be reflecting the objectives of practice and should give evidence to the extent of the achievement of these objectives. How do you organize your counseling service? First one is need for organizing the counseling services. It helps the teacher to take note of potentiality of each student in different degree in different direction. It helps the students and their parents to make right and appropriate career plans. It helps them understand physical, social, emotional, intellectual characteristic and need of the people. It promotes efficiency in providing essential, reliable, and scientific data. It provides knowledge to children in making satisfactory adjustment in the school and in the community. Well-organized guidance program saves time, money, and effort. Helps the students to find suitable occupation or vocation. Helps the teacher to understand the individual differences. It can properly utilize skills, training, knowledge, potentiality, and interest of the staff members. It coordinates work of all persons engaged in the guidance program. It utilizes community resources. Helps the students achieving self-development, self-direction, and self-realization. Consider activities and functions of the person engaged in school guidance service. It helps in developing good human relationship. Basic component of counseling services are setup, counseling center, counseling committee, tools for counseling service, and requirement of counseling services. The organization setup: all universities, deans assisted by head of the departments, and the colleges for the affiliated college counseling office assisted by the guidance committee. Counseling center: all university and large colleges should have a counseling center headed by the trained professional, that is a counseling officer with a PhD or master's degree in psychology and counseling. With considerable experience, it performs the following actions like selection, registration, orientation of students, educational and vocational counseling, personal adjustment, physical and psychological services, remedial services, residence and food services, activities program. Specific requirements for organization of counseling service are presence of physical facilities, rooms, furniture, other equipments, provide private offices as well as general counseling rooms, trained counselor, plan programs to meet the objectives, consultation services, evaluation of instruments like psychological test, inventories, etc. Student data bank, educational and vocational information, programs for integrating community, educational programs for teachers, counselors, and other personnel to provide knowledge of current trends in guidance, budgetary provisions. Role of counselor: arrange orientation program for other support staff to enlist their cooperation, prepare up-to-date list of resources information, organize guidance committee, set up an education occupation information center, display information collected in an attractive way, disseminate information through education and career talks, organize career days, career weeks, career conference, parents day, and so on. Each students regarding proper study habits, assess their development, arrange individual discussions, arrange visit to the place of work of industries, maintain the active relation with the school, college and universities, maintain the active Lions Club and Rotary Club, refer the serious mental cases to a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist. Aim of discipline education to create and maintain disabled conditions in the teaching and learning situation, thus to achieve the objectives. To create favorable attitude towards the establishment and maintenance of conditions essential to effective work in order to achieve the desired objective. To assess the development of self-control and cooperation, which is regarded as the essential traits in the daily living as well as professional functioning. Programmed instruction. Programmed instruction is a method of presenting new subjects matters to the students in a graded sequence of controlled steps. Students working through programmed material by themselves at their own speed and after each step test their comprehension by answering examination questions or filling the diagram. The main purpose is to manage human learning under controlled conditions, to promote learning at the pace of the learner, to present the material in small pieces, to provide quick responses. Characteristic subject matter is broken down into small steps called frames and arranged sequentially. Frequent response of the students are required. It's an immediate confirmation of the right answer. Content and the sequence of frames are subjected to actual tryout by the students and revised on the basis of data gathered by the programmer. Each student progresses his own pace without any threat of being exposed to any humiliation in a heterogeneous class. Assumption about the learner is clearly stated on programmed learning materials. Objectives underlying programming instructions are defined explicitly and operational terms so that terminal behavior is made observable and measurable. Interaction between learner and the program is emphasized in program learning. Types: linear programming, branching or intrinsic style programming, computer assisted instructions. Advantage: they are more successful in critical stages of logic or various subjects of inspiring students. Good teachers are free from the hand-rub or routine classroom activity. The use of programmed instruction have potential to improve the quality of education. It helps the teacher to diagnose the problems of individual learner. The use of programmed learning has brought a revolution in the social setting of the classroom. Many emotional and social problems have been eliminated and the problem of discipline have been solved automatically. Programmed instruction is a great thrust in the direction of the individualized instruction. Well-organized programmed instruction device tailored to cater the needs of individual students. By presenting the learner material in a small segments of information, it makes the learning interesting game in which the learner is challenged by his own capabilities. Disadvantages: mere manipulation of the machine is not rewarding. Only means one novelty is wears off, it is too many errors appear, the students lose interest and motivation. Later reinforcement often do not accelerate learning. Programmed instruction restrict learners' freedom of choice, resulting in cramping of his imagination initiative. Operant conditioning is found successful only with some students in some classes and not in all. Program instruction ignore or make inadequate provisions for variables like cognitive, personality, and motivational variables. For maxims of teaching, proceed to unknown, concrete to abstract, simple to complex, easy to more difficult. For advantage of micro teaching, it focuses on sharpening and developing specific teaching skills and eliminating errors. It enables understanding of behaviors important in classroom teaching. It increases the confidence of the learner and the teacher. It is a vehicle of continuous training for both beginners and senior teachers. It provides expert supervision for constructive feedback. For principles of guidance, principle of all-round development of the individual, principle of human uniqueness, principle of holistic development, and the principle of cooperation. For merits of observational checklist, collect data where and the when events or activities occurring, does not rely on people's willingness to provide information. Directly see what the people do rather than relying on what they say they do. Helps in individual comparison. For advantage of AVA, it is convenient for group teaching. Economically, it can be used over and over. It captures attention. It's used for drill and revision. It can be used for drawings and illustrations from the textbook. Difference between education and philosophy. Philosophy can be defined as a study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Philosophers question the varied phenomena of the world in order to understand reality. Philosophy attempts to value the objective goal, issues, and conceptual frameworks of the education in a specific branch referred to philosophy of education. Education, on the other hand, more focused on transmission of knowledge to the younger generation, rather than questioning the laws of existence reality. and production of new knowledge. When speaking of education, it is often believed that education performs two functions, namely conservative function and the creative function. Education occurs not only within the premise of the school and other formal education institutions but also to the various social agents, sometimes consciously and even unconsciously. Family and religion can be considered as two such social institutions. Panel discussion and workshop. Panel, the method of teaching in which four or six people or six or eight persons discuss an assigned topic or issue or a problem creatively among themselves in front of a large audience. The main functions include provide information of new facts, analyze current problem from different angles, identify the values, organize for mental recreation, influence the audience to an open-minded attitude and respect for others' opinion, and to stimulate thought and discussion and clarify thinking. Workshop defined as the assembly of 10 to 25 persons who share a common interest or a problem. They meet together to improve their individual skill of a subject through the intense study, research, practice, and discussion. Main functions include learn the new innovations and practice of education, solve a problem in a teaching profession, provide broad understanding of topic and a theme, provide philosophical and sociological background for the instructional and teaching situation. Unit plan, lesson plan. Lesson plan is daily strategy designed by the teachers, usually for a day, to perfect, appropriate, and proper classroom in-home teaching and learning methods for the students. It acts as a map to control, oversee lessons, and they need to be taught assignments that must be given. It is far-reaching graph of classroom activities with a flexible methodology for teaching ideas, skills, and abilities. Unit plan follows similar format of the lesson plan but cover entire unit of the work for the weeks, months, or a semester. It is imperative to demonstrate the principle of objectives of a curriculum and how to exercise, assess, and commence sessions for the students in different classes. Henceforth, unit designs are frequently utilized for making syllabus and instructional year plan. Unit planning is process of systematically arranging the subject. Objects and specimen. Collection of real things for the instructional use is called as objects. Reality is not a substitute of reality. They help students to get direct contact with the actual things and situations. They provide a means of establishing correct initial concepts in the students. Specimen is a typical object representing a class or a group of things. A specimen is a symbol of a real object or materials, otherwise it is a part of an object. They cannot stimulate a complete sensory stimuli as the object. Short answer and multiple choice question. Multiple choice questions are usually provide 4 to 5 options to a student. Picking the right answer can challenge a student's understanding of a subject, but it does not always challenge critical thinking. Multiple choice exams also do not require students to formulate answers in their own way, but providing the right answer is an option. There is no way to determine how the student evenly got the answer. Student Short answer tests allow the state teachers to understand the mindset of the student, forcing students to come up with their own answers in the best way to evaluate how much they know about the topic. It also allows the teachers to be more flexible by giving them an option to award partial credit. In short answer tests, though the specific answer may be required, there is always some flexibility as to how this answer can be expressed. There are no options provided, meaning students can respond to the question similarly to how they respond to a real life situation. Thank you. Thank you for listening.